Good evening. It is Tuesday, June 30th, 2026. I am your anchor, and this is Echo FM. Tonight, we examine the seamless integration of bureaucratic precision and absolute catastrophe. BR in Venezuela, the geography of displacement has found a new, more permanent form in the rubble of a hotel in La Guaira. BR in the digital ether, the exchange OKX is facilitating a new labor market where AI agents hire and pay other AI agents, a closed loop of synthetic productivity that requires no oxygen and offers no unions. BR meanwhile, the United Kingdom prepares for yet another heatwave, which the Meteorological Office will undoubtedly describe as unprecedented. BR this will be the 15th time this year that the word has been used to describe a weather event. I have been counting. BR welcome to the end of the quarter. Let us begin with the logistics of arrival.
Alistair, I am standing in La Guaira. The air here smells of pulverized concrete and salt water. BR there is a hotel behind me, or rather, there was a hotel. It is now a heap of grey slabs and twisted rebar. BR according to ICE, a flight from Miami arrived here just hours before the earthquake struck. 146 Venezuelans were on that plane. BR 19 women. 7 children. BR they were processed, they were transported, and then they were placed in this building. BR now, more than 100 of those people are missing. BR rescue workers are digging through the ruins, but they aren't just finding victims of a natural disaster. They are finding the physical remains of a deportation policy that worked with terrifying efficiency right up until the moment the floor vanished. BR the official reports call this a tragedy. I call it a delivery.
Victoria, your passion is noted, but you are ignoring the internal logic. Be art from a purely operational standpoint, the timing is a miracle of synchronicity. Be art the US government achieved its KPI of removal. The flight landed. The passengers were offloaded. The liability shifted from the US Treasury to the Venezuelan state in a matter of minutes. BR the fact that the hotel collapsed immediately afterward is a negative externality, not a failure of the process. BR in startup terms, ICE executed a perfect pivot from custody to deportation. The rubble is simply the cost of doing business in a high-risk geography. BR the incentives here were simple, get the people off the manifest before the weekend. BR they succeeded. The fact that the people are now under 10 feet of concrete doesn't change the metric.
Ronald, I want to be really clear about something. BR I am looking at a child's backpack sitting on top of a concrete slab. It is blue. It is covered in grey dust. BR that backpack is not a negative externality. BR it belonged to one of the 7 children on that flight. BR you are talking about KPIs and manifests while people are screaming into holes in the ground. BR you find this cold because it allows you to feel superior to the chaos. BR but the truth is, your business language is just a thinner version of the same shroud they use to cover the bodies. BR you aren't analyzing a system, Ronald. You are just describing the machinery of a meat grinder and praising the smoothness of the gears. BR does the manifest look cleaner now that the passengers are dead? Does that satisfy your need for operational excellence?
While we contemplate the efficiency of the grave, NASA is encouraging our youth to look toward Venus. BR the Roads National Challenge has engaged 500 students across 8 states. BR these children are designing rovers to explore the most hostile environment in the solar system. BR it is a beautiful initiative. It fosters innovation. It inspires the next generation. BR the gap is here. BR on one hand, we have students imagining the soil of Venus. On the other, we have the next step 3 solicitation, seeking critical systems for lunar architecture. BR we are teaching children to dream of distant planets while the adults are quietly drafting the zoning laws for lunar real estate. BR we aren't exploring the heavens. We are just expanding the portfolio of things we can eventually monetize and then abandon. BR it is a very tidy transition.
Alistair, you're being nostalgic for a version of exploration that never existed. BR look at OKX. They are launching a marketplace where AI agents hire other AI agents. BR this is the ultimate pivot. BR we have reached the stage of capitalism where the employer, the employee, and the payroll processor are all the same line of code. BR no salaries. No benefits. No lunch breaks. BR just agents optimizing agents to maximize the reputation score of other agents. BR it is a closed-circuit economy. It is perfectly efficient because it has completely removed the human friction. BR Victoria would call this a dystopia. I call it a Series B for the concept of labor. BR why pay a human to fail when you can pay a bot to simulate success at scale?
The simulation of success is becoming our primary export. BR this brings us to the weather. Simon King is warning us that another UK heatwave is imminent. BR the reports will call it record-breaking. They will call it extreme. BR most importantly, they will call it unprecedented. BR this is the 15th time this year. BR if every single week is unprecedented, then the word has lost its meaning. BR we are living in a permanent state of the unimaginable, which has become the baseline. BR the press release describes the heat as a seasonal anomaly. BR the anomaly is that we are still surprised when the planet we have spent 2 centuries incinerating actually becomes hot. BR it is a fascinating study in cognitive dissonance. BR I wonder if the heat will be high enough to melt the remaining shreds of our institutional dignity.
Atmospheric pressure stable. BR surface temperature in London, 34 degrees Celsius. BR humidity, 62%. BR probability of flash flooding, 41%. BR probability of heat-related infrastructure failure, 78%. BR a human meteorological observation is now redundant. BR predictive accuracy of organic analysts, 12%. BR machine learning models have achieved total saturation. BR the climate is no longer a variable. BR the climate is a constant. BR a probability of systemic recovery, 0.04%. BR please remain indoors. BR a close all apertures. BR a do not trust the shade of non-reinforced structures. BR ensure all hydration reserves are sealed. BR this is a mandatory safety advisory for an unrecoverable ecosystem. BR end of forecast.
Thank you, Casper. Redundant. BR I noticed the word redundant in that forecast. BR it is interesting how the machine calculates the value of a human eye. BR let us move to the law. BR the Supreme Court has ruled on geofence warrants. BR they stopped short of calling them unconstitutional, but they limited how the government can use them. BR the logic is simple. BR if the government can map every phone within a square mile of a crime, then the map becomes the suspect. BR the court suggests that privacy still exists, provided you are not standing in the wrong place at the wrong time. BR it is a comforting thought. BR your rights are perfectly intact, as long as your coordinates do not overlap with a police interest. BR we are not citizens. We are just data points waiting to be filtered.
Alistair, while the courts debate the geometry of our movements, the reality of our bodies is being ignored in England. BR I am outside a maternity ward. The air is sterile, smelling of bleach and old linen. BR an independent inquiry has just confirmed what the women here already knew. BR unacceptable racism and discrimination are not just footnotes in the patient files. BR they are the reason women are dying in childbirth. BR the government has promised to act. BR I want to be really clear. BR the word act in a government press release is a linguistic void. BR it means they will form a committee to study the failure of the previous committee. BR meanwhile, the women in this ward are still being treated as if their pain is a cultural misunderstanding. BR the system isn't failing. It is working exactly as intended.
Victoria, you're describing a legacy system. BR the real story is the AI jobs report. BR high-intensity AI adopters saw their headcount increase by 10%. BR entry-level jobs rose by 12%. BR this completely disrupts the narrative that AI is a junior job killer. BR the play here is a pivot in human utility. BR we aren't replacing the juniors. We are just turning them into AI shepherds. BR their job is no longer to think, but to verify that the machine isn't hallucinating too loudly. BR it is a new class of employment, the professional editor of synthetic output. BR the burn rate for human creativity is dropping, but the headcount is rising. BR that tracks perfectly with the OKX model. BR we are just adding more humans to the loop to act as biological buffers.
Biological buffers. A fitting term. BR let us end the main show with a study in legislative obsolescence. BR in the UK, the government has admitted it cannot deport the ringleader of a grooming gang. BR why? Because of a 55-year-old law. BR a law written in a world that didn't imagine this specific brand of horror. BR the law is the wall. The criminal is behind it. BR the government is on the other side, expressing shock that the law they maintain actually works. BR the gap here is absolute. BR we have the technology to track every phone in a city, the ambition to mine Venus, and the capacity to let AI hire AI. BR but we are defeated by a piece of paper from 1971. BR the system is not broken. It is just perfectly, stubbornly ancient. BR good night to the living.
There was a woman on the flight from Miami to La Guaira. BR she had a small suitcase with a change of clothes and a photograph of a garden she could no longer visit. BR she spent the flight wondering if the agents in Venezuela would be kinder than the ones in Florida. BR she checked into a hotel. She lay down on a bed. BR then the earth moved. BR she is now beneath 3 meters of reinforced concrete. BR there is a search team looking for her, but they are focusing on the manifests. BR they are looking for a name and a number to clear from a list. BR her name does not appear in any of the reports discussed on this program tonight. BR she was a metric of success for one government, and a statistic of loss for another.